All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the City of Alpharetta's Design Review Board Workshop. Today is Friday, October 18th, 2024. We'll begin our workshop. I'll turn it over to Mr. Schroeder, and he will walk us through the applications that we'll be hearing during our public hearing starting at 9 o'clock this morning. So, Brett, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Deanna, if you would put my computer on. And these are going to look a little bit odd. I tried to make it full screen and it just doesn't work out right. So the pictures are going to look a little bit odd, but I'll try to do my best. So if you remember back September of 23, some of you saw the standard when they came forward to add their stuff on the side and this and that and the other thing. We briefly, there was a photo in there of this walk-up window. But they had decided at that time that they weren't really sure about it. They didn't want to spend the money on it. They weren't really sure whether it was going to work or not. They weren't really sure which window they wanted to use, whether it was the one beside the door or the one around the corner. So they didn't, we said we're not gonna look at that. Moving forward, they sent it to me in August, and I thought, okay, well, this is, I mean, it's what we looked at. However, there is one difference. We looked at what we briefly looked at in 23 was a sliding window. This is a folding up window, I guess you would say. So there's a little bit of a difference there.
Bifolding or something.
Yeah, it's like a bifold that goes up. So it creates a little shelf or something at the top there. But I approved it. I said, yeah, I think it looks fine. It matches. I talked with chairman and vice chairman as we do regularly every month. We have a pre-meeting and things and talk about stuff. So I sent it to them. I said, hey, what do you guys think? We all agreed that, looked fine. Then we got a little bit of pushback. So we said, okay, well, let's stop where you are in the construction. The window was in, but and I let them finish putting it in and this and that because I didn't want it to, with the advertising time and all that stuff, I didn't want it open to weather and this and that. So, so I believe it's complete other than painting. Some of it may be painted, some of it may not. I'm not really sure of the exact where it is, but I know we did tell the painter, just finish up what you're doing and then you got to stop. But they'll be here this morning to talk about this window. Some of the concerns that were brought forward were maybe stacking, with a large number of people maybe at that corner, gathering for beverages, and mingling with the people at the intersection, and is it going to create an issue and this and that. So we did have a meeting yesterday, just very briefly, with Richard and Frank, and I think they've come up with a thought for y'all to think about and maybe add to a motion.
Can I ask a couple questions about this? In this type of scenario where there's staff approval, are there any hardship provisions for the applicant if they kind of moved forward, or did they move forward at their own risk before, was it?
No, they did not move forward at their own risk.
Okay, so based on that, is there any, from a city perspective, any hardship provision since they spent the money? Okay.
No, there's not. So if
I
you
think
all
it's
decide
we can
that
take
it's
into consideration.
Right.
Right. In other words, is it if there's something we didn't like about it, is it important enough to make them go through the expense to change it? I think that's a valid consideration.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's available for your consideration as far as, because we don't have there's no codes or anything not allowing or allowing. this or that or the other thing. So it's really up to y'all's consideration. And you can consider everything where, that the whole stacking and thing you may feel like maybe isn't in your purview, but it sort of is, so I think you just need to consider it, but there's not a hardship as saying, no, you guys just have to live with what it is and make it pretty, per se. If you don't want it and the board votes it down, they're going to have to take it out and put the original window back in.
During this is another workshop-related item, during the discussions and whatnot, was there any consideration related to the aesthetic of the window as it relates to the symmetry? I know it's not a historic building, but.
There was, but the availability of a horizontal sliding window was not available at the time. Because that's what one of my thoughts was, is the
And the
horizontal.
alignment with, when you put that in it looked good and that's what they showed us, but when they actually looked behind the bar, where the thing's gonna be, it's gonna slide, as y'all know, not completely halfway. It's gonna slide,
Right.
say 3/4 of the way. It just didn't.
I meant like the fact that the current window is horizontal, the other one's vertical.
Yeah, exactly.
And is there a potential solution that would relate to adding like this is just a thought, like false mullions, like vertical mullions on that side and horizontal ones on the other to make it, to improve the symmetry? I know this isn't a historic building, but it is kind of an important building in downtown.
Well, you could do that. I actually done that with my house.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's,
So
that's
an
an
option.
easy, easy fix that might,
So you may want to, that's y'all's profession. That's what you guys are for. So if that, okay, we beat that one.
So that, for the standard, then that's the only thing we'll be looking at. is
Yep,
that,
yep.
The walk-up windows.
Yep, and they've matched the color and stuff of the other colors that are there, so I didn't have them, I think I did tell them to bring color samples, but, it's gonna match what's already there, so.
Brett, in the original drawing that they showed, they had a menu board. Are they doing any kind of menu board?
I don't know. They did, and I think when the sign person was here and did the other stuff, I think we sort of talked like that, but again, we didn't consider that window, so we didn't really talk about what was there, so.
Is there still the ordinance downtown that they can't have like drinks and prices listed? So I don't know what they would put on that menu board.
So, exactly, but I think,
Well,
Because a lot of them do it. There's all day mimosas at,
yeah,
whatever.
it's one of those, I would,
Is the ordinance that can they say mimosas, they just can't say price, or can they not, or can they say cocktails? What is?
the ordinance is you can't actually say the words happy hour,
Right.
Right, but
and
then
you can't advertise specific alcohol. So
Like a
you couldn't
Tito's
say Tito's,
right.
Okay.
but
Could you say
sort of
mimosa?
technically you could say vodka.
Why can't you say Tito's if the if the law is the content?
It's content neutral. So there's
So you could say a vodka soda.
there's a big play between being content neutral.
We had this all at Ned.
There's a big play between being content neutral for the sign ordinance and what the alcohol ordinance allows. So
Right.
it's a fine line. What I would do is if they ask about a menu board, I don't think they have opportunity right now for it because I think they've used up their signage. But I don't think there would be a problem if they did like a stand-up 8.5 by 11 on the thing, maybe on the windowsill,
on
which
the
would actually
window?
be inside
Yeah.
because they don't have a sill outside. It'd actually be inside. So without giving away all the pot.
Okay.
That probably
Okay.
wasn't the right word to use. Okay,
all right,
let's go on.
let's go to the dentist.
So we're gonna go to the dentist. This is a monument sign.
Easy to do.
So this is what they had. This got taken down by DOT. And this is what they want. Now, location is going to be a little bit key for them because there's a required tree right here. So I've told them that, and they know it. So what I would prefer you guys do with this one is look at just the sign. Don't worry about the placement. Let me handle that in the field as to where it can go. But they're pretty much replicating it. We do have, some new things, and I've told them, 9 foot's not going to work. 6 foot in the downtown is now the code. So some things that you guys can look at, but it does look like the building with the keystone or the, I can't think of those squares on the corners, what those are called.
The coining or the.
Yeah. So, and then, we'll want to see, what are they doing with the actual signage is, because we don't, in the new downtown, we don't allow the, flat panel background with vinyl on it and stuff like that. It's got to have relief and different things. So, but I think they're prepared for that.
Any sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, are they allowed to have 3 tenant?
Up to 4.
Up to 4. Okay, there's only showing 3, but all right. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. Any concerns related to visibility for traffic?
I
moving in and
wouldn't
out?
worry about it.
Okay.
The sign's not going to be able to be right there. So I wouldn't, yeah, I don't, we'll take that into staff consideration when we find the placement.
Is this monument's just for the right building?
Just for the right-hand building if you pull in that entrance, because the left-hand building's already got their signage.
And does it look like this?
No, but the buildings don't look the exact same.
Okay, I was thinking they were mirrored. Okay,
they're not.
thank you.
Okay, and then we have another monument sign.
And then we have another monument sign down the street at Nor Studios, which is the art studio down the way. This is Old Milton Parkway here. This is that formal area that the landscape designers got in, and I don't know where this is placed with the wall, but they do have to have a 5-foot setback from the right of way. So I don't really know because there's currently still a construction easement and yada, yada, yada. So
Does the right of way start at the wall, the back of the wall?
I don't know without, this isn't a scaled site plan, so I don't know. We'll have to do placement.
Let you handle placement?
But I'll handle the placement, yeah. So this is the monument. It's going to be exteriorly illuminated. Would like you guys to really, this is an art studio. I don't know that they put a lot of art thought into the monument sign. It's pretty basic, and we really encourage more creativity in the downtown. So that's just me.
They would want their name to be more distinctive than how it reads in that image there.
It does not read very well. Yes. It also doesn't say what it is.
Well, it does in fine print.
Yep.
No,
It actually does in fine print below the name. It says
Does it? Okay.
studio and gallery,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's hard to see.
All right. So, and then they've got some images of the building and where they're placing it.
Brad, since I was a consultant, if you will, on landscaping, am I in this or out of this?
I think you can be in it. It has nothing to do with the landscape and what you consulted on. So I think you can, I think it's up to you, but I wouldn't see a conflict.
what if we asked for plantings around the base? Would that change any of that? Because they don't show any plantings around the base.
No, I don't think so. But
Well,
that
we
may
do-
bring up a good thing that you may want to.
We do have a quorum if Mr. Corkle has to recuse himself.
Yes,
So
yes,
there's
and
no
we have
issue.
another two other landscape architects that, that could figure that piece out, yeah.
Is there any issues with the placement of the sign, Brett?
I don't think
far as
so,
the-
because they're showing it above the wall.
Okay.
And without seeing an actual site plan, I,
I thought they had.
well, there's one in there, but it's not,
Okay.
without seeing this, let's say the survey, without seeing a survey, I'm assuming that the wall is the line.
Okay.
So it would be a 5-foot setback from the front edge of the wall. With other spots in downtown that I've dealt with those walls, they seem to have located that wall right at what will be the future right-of-way line.
Okay.
They have easement yet, construction easement behind it, but once all that's done and the right-of-way is set, it's, in other spots, it's the wall. So I'm assuming that that's where it is without viewing it, but I'll handle that when we do the permitting.
You look at what, I'm sorry, if you back up that right there, that rendering shows more of a stone-looking base, which gives it a little bit more character, and it also shows some of the landscaping at the base.
Yes, and I would think that, they did put a new stone facade on the building.
Yes, they did.
So I would think that, and just as our general thing, we would want that to match.
Right. Anyway, it just looks a little different than the front-facing sign that we saw earlier in the package.
Yeah, this rendering looks a little bit different, yeah.
And then, they need to have their street number somewhere on
They
that.
need to have the street number somewhere. It could be on the bottom of the monument, it could be on the edge.
Right.
The fire marshal even is letting them put them on the buildings, when the buildings are visible from the street.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm sorry? Yes. Yeah, I think it's a great image.
Even got the explanation of it.
I just don't, I'm a sign guy though, so when I drive down the road, I want to know what is that? And driving at 35 miles an hour down Main Street, unless somebody tells me that it's an art studio, I just don't know it. But that's just my feelings, People say they're tired of the signs that say nails. You know what you're getting. That's where I'm going to get my nails done,
Oh, I thought it was
So-
a hammer in nails.
Yeah, or it could be a hardware, yeah. So, anyway, I digress.
Okay.
That's a lot. Okay, now we're moving to the building at Liberty Square, Liberty.
Plaza, something,
Liberty something at
Yeah.
West Side and Old Milton. When that was designed, the buildings were to take into consideration the I can't remember, Mr. Kramer, do you remember what that old inspiration for these buildings were? What that was called?
Oh, they had the Liberty Bell.
Edwards Inn.
Old Edwards Inn.
Old Edwards Inn.
Oh, okay.
The old Edwards Inn area. This was supposed to feel like that. So this is the big restaurant at the corner right beside the bank. They want to replace the current awning with an operable awning and then add about 10 feet closer to Old Milton Parkway, moving the existing landscape plan just forward 10 feet. So not necessarily maintaining the actual plants, but just moving those plant species forward.
So, I'm sorry, Brett, they have a covered porch right now.
They do, but they want to be able to have it open to the sun,
Okay.
yet closed to the rain. So this is the operable system like we have out here at Holmes. That's got the rain gutter built into it, and they're fins, and they can open and close the fins based on the
Okay.
on that. They like that ability to have the sun and the shield from the rain. So they want to take off what they have and replace it and then add 10 feet.
No, that's what's there.
We don't have a really good rendering of what it's going to look like. So I apologize for that. I've attempted it. But I guess what you can do, so this, you can see my pointer right here.
Yes,
This is about where the current one ends. This door is inside the current patio. So you can see they just want to extend it out to the edge of the building. So this is where it ends. The current one has,
So Brett, it's to run the full length of the building. They're not coming out further. It's just
no, they're
to
coming
run-
to the edge.
Just to run the full length of the building. Okay.
The current one, I think there's a current picture in here. If not, I'll do a Google Earth. Yeah, there's not. But the current one has stone base columns.
yes, it does.
So I don't know what they want to do with that, but I would say that would be an important part
Yes,
of the old Edwards Inn
look.
feel to if you just brought a 4x4, 6x6, 8x8, whatever it is, and you bring that straight to the ground, that's a completely different look, architectural look to me than what you would see at Old Edwards Inn.
Yeah, well, I think the column's got to match what's there,
Yeah.
right? Just so it all looks the same.
So I think this is like, there's a brand called Structures where it's 100% manufactured and they come in and but they have tons of options to be able to add stuff like masonry and stuff to the columns.
Yeah, I think there's
Just a different
yes,
contractor you need to bring.
I agree. It's just a matter of, to me, I just think we need to remember that old Edwards Inn, and I think the way to get that is to maintain those columns and stuff. And maybe even the front, even though there's landscaping there, maybe the front of it gets a rock wall.
Well, and the bigger problem is we have no rendering or anything to show us what.
Well, I took some pictures there yesterday, which will help, I think, understand what they're trying to do. So if I email those to you, Brett, can you
Yeah,
pull
email
those
them
up?
to me.
All right, let me see
Yeah,
what I
and
can do.
I would like to see, like, does the landscaping, will it kind of stick out like a sore thumb compared to the rest of the landscaping around it? And
Yeah, it's a valid point.
so,
I think, Jennifer, were you involved in that plan?
Yes, that was our project
Okay, so
originally.
you'll recuse yourself then for, well, I don't,
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and override you on Pat too. Since you guys have received financial benefit from the companies, you shouldn't,
Well, it was
be
for the
involved in the vote.
developer.
I'm sorry?
It was, our client was the developer.
Yeah, the client
Originally.
was a developer, not the person, but
okay. I just
I
think,
don't know.
I think
I
you should
can't.
err on,
I think we can,
Right.
I think if Mr. Corkle recuses for Nor, you two can handle that, and if you recuse yourself for this one, the Richard and Pat can handle whatever landscaping. But the client's intent is to continue what's there just forward. So there's that.
Okay,
Okay,
so Brett, I have emailed, I took 4 pictures, so I've emailed those to you. So
Okay.
hopefully, see how long it takes to get from
yeah,
meeting.
and we'll go through this one real quick and then see if we can look at them. So this is the Maxwell. We have, boy, have we researched trying to find a spot for a sign at the Maxwell. And it is tough. So this one where not the greatest visibility, it's really about the only spot. They're mounting it to the brick wall that exists all along the front. They're gonna have to maintain the ivy or whatever it is that's growing up on there. They're gonna have to make sure they, to keep it visible, to keep that off. I don't know that they've decided or figured out illumination for it yet, whether they're gonna do I personally think a downlight would be the easiest to continue to maintain. Some sort of a flushing light, or maybe even a little flush light at each tenant, a little LED strip that flushes down on each tenant might illuminate it the best. But this is a tough one. So this is more just are we okay with using a wall as the monument? And I think 5 years ago we might have thought differently, but now we got a whole lot of walls on Main Street.
Wait, is there a reason they want to put it on the wall?
There's nowhere else really to put it.
Okay.
They can't get it up higher. Because that's as high as the wall goes.
Like if they mounted it on a post?
Well, but it's a monument sign. They don't have opportunity for building signs because their tenants already have building signs. So this has to be the monument sign.
Can it go on the top of the wall?
I wouldn't, yes.
I
I don't think it can do to meet the sign ordinance is it can't be attached to the building.
Those are just so small, like you said, for the,
Well, but they still have the square footage that they have to deal with, no matter where
no,
it
I know,
goes.
but it's just like, you can see in the left picture, you can see the telephone, the yellow, the telephone pole thing, and it's like hard to, it's.
Yeah.
And you have
You
no
think of-
visibility coming northbound.
Yeah,
There's
And the
zero.
writing is so small, you'd be like-
with the new right of way and the things, there was room. There was room. Now there's not.
I'll send you this picture too.
Yeah. So it just,
I mean, I appreciate the struggle for them, but I don't know.
yeah, and literally we've worked on this probably, I would bet for 2 years. And I know that A1 Signs is not the first group that tried to do it and just couldn't, it just wouldn't work. They've also had some different ownership and different management and different things, so some of that fed into all of that, but literally there just is not a place to put them on.
Brett, you mentioned that the new ordinance out has monument signs only 6 feet tall, and this is taller than 6 feet.
It's, yeah, but from where? That's where, so I think let me deal with that. If the sign itself, what is the,
I think it says 96 inches.
okay, so what I've looked, so we'll cut that to 6 foot. And then let me figure out in the ordinance how we can make that from yeah. But I think if we make that part maximum of 6 foot, then let me hit the ordinance, talk to the attorney, see what.
So is top of the wall even a consideration then? Because then, it depends how you measure that, right?
It's gonna depend on how, yeah. So,
Yeah, 'cause it's not actually a monument, so it's like, I know you do the monument from the ground to the top, but this is not,
yeah,
That's
it's
gonna be
just a.
yeah, have fun with that.
I mean, if
Brett.
you put it at the top of the wall, ground level at the top of the wall, it's different than the ground level. at
That's
the
what I was
street,
thinking.
right?
Yeah, so on top of the wall might make it,
It's a higher
Tougher.
grade, higher grade, yeah.
not that we couldn't go to city council and say, hey, this is what DRB liked, they didn't feel like this vertical thing was appropriate, they really wanted it up on the wall, and do a variance. That could still be possible.
Probably don't want to
I mean,
do that.
aesthetically, I don't have a problem with this. I'm just not sure how.
What my thing
functional
on
it is.
top of the wall would be, what's the back of it look like?
Yeah.
Because that is a big
Right.
pedestrian sidewalk up there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's gonna be ugly up there.
But
So
if
yeah.
if it was perpendicular to South Main and it was signed on both sides, then you'd have visibility northbound and southbound, which you don't have right now.
Yeah.
Which is what I was,
Is there room for that, though, to run it that?
well, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and
That's a
then-
good-
so that brings up, could it be just put up here?
Yeah.
But then if we do that, it's really hard to say what's the height.
And then, you know, what, the next person that comes and uses
Yeah.
that as your example.
And not that we can't figure that out and get past that with situational things, but, so I think you guys should just focus on what you feel like is the best look and location.
Right.
And then we'll let me and the client handle from there what we do with it if we need to do anything further. But if we say we have to send it to city council, they're gonna wanna know what your thoughts were. Because it normally would work the other way, where they would approve it, then they would approve a location and then you would look at a design. So, you know, this has been presented, it doesn't need a variance, so we need to figure out, you know. But if you guys think it is better somewhere else, then, yeah. Okay, well, it's 9 o'clock. Let me look really quick at, these.
See if you got any email messages from me, Brett. So that was my picture from my vehicle. That's my picture from my vehicle. I turned right in there and then.
Yeah,
did
so
a-
it's this corner right here
Yes,
that they're,
not a great picture, but sorry,
but it's perfect.
I was fighting traffic and
Yeah,
trying to avoid traffic.
and then,
Should be about 4 pictures on this one. So that's,
so this is the current, so they're extending, going towards the street 10 feet.
yeah, there's another
Now,
picture that.
you'll
has
also notice that this one has
The four
double columns.
Yeah, it's a 4-column.
So, oh yeah, it's a 4, isn't
So
it?
there's 4 posts in
Yes,
there?
there's 4
4
posts
on
in
each
there.
one, yeah.
Yeah, that's the front.
And it matches the front entrance,
Right.
which is also 4.
And then I tried to zoom in a little bit. Looks like construction's already underway.
Interior construction, yeah,
Yes.
yep.
And then I took one, I
So
walked,
covering these windows, going out past these windows is where they want to go.
and I took another picture walking out towards Old Milton there.
Yeah,
Tried to-
so this landscaping here, they want to just move out to here, which plays a little bit with this tree, so it's going to grow up, so it's probably not going to let the grass grow, you know, so there's some things that, anyway, here we go. Okay, we're after
All right.
9 o'clock.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn our workshop session this morning. You'll get our coffee cups filled to get back here in less than 5 minutes and get our public hearing started. Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the City of Alpharetta's Design Review Board public hearing. Today is Friday, October 18th, 2024. So welcome. Just a gentle reminder for your electronic devices, if you'll just either turn those off or silence those, and those go for board members as well. So thank you for that. This morning, roll call. Everybody's here. Good morning. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here this morning. Next up is we'll stand, we'll face the flag, and we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you for that. Next up is, do we have any items from staff this morning?
Yes, I'm going to give the public hearing procedure at this point because I forgot to put it in the public hearing section. Basically, we allow 10 minutes for each side if we have public comment to speak on an item. Any individual that wants to be heard on the matter has to come before the podium and state your name and address. Like I said, the proponents, which is the applicant, will get a side of 10 minutes, and if there's any other comment, they get 10 minutes, but that's at the discretion of the chair. He can always allow more time, and that's that. And then I wanted to say, have one other thing. Just, we had a public hearing procedure meeting and talked about motions, so I would really appreciate it in your motions if you give clear, direct motions and not just as stated during the meeting, because staff has to look at the minutes, and if I don't have a clear motion, I have to go back and listen to the entire tape again. So just try and do that for me, and I would appreciate it. Thank you. Brett, do you have anything else?
Trying to make your job easier.
I think that just, it always puts a little bit of stress on us if we have to try to interpret your intent, which we do, but if the motion is clearer or as clear as it can be, that just helps us out. So I do have one quick thing. We've all are feeling our feelings are hurt a little bit that James Drinkard left us. But good for him. If you haven't heard, he went to city manager at Warner Robins. So great thing for James and his wife. But we're feeling a little bit of a loss. So not to understate but Deanna's with us. She's in our communications and public relations department upstairs. She's been with us a couple of years. She's going to be filling in here and there. They taught her the system, so she's kind of the new James until we have a permanent position, and then she may be the backup or who, we just don't know. But anyway, welcome Deanna to our meeting today.
And one more thing, sorry, we are going to have a December meeting. I think Brett sent an email out, and I think he got 4 people, but if we could have 5, that would be great.
What are these dates? Because
There's 5 now.
Meeting will be on the 14th.
13th.
I thought it was the
13th.
13th
Sorry.
Yeah, it'll
For
be on a Saturday.
of December.
Yes.
Friday.
All right.
The third Friday didn't work with when we.
The holiday.
Here, when we tried to figure out when people were gonna be gone and this and that, because
So the 20th has moved to the 13th.
20th is moved to the 13th, and the January 3rd
This can't.
is no longer.
So there will be no meeting in January.
No, there will.
Yes,
The third Friday,
it's still,
not January, we were gonna have 2.
Send an email.
He did.
We already
There was
did.
not a- There was not a summary email
Not a
that I saw.
clear thing. So, yeah, we'll probably, Ellie and I need to work on next year's dates.
I was gonna say,
So
as you-
we'll send that out probably the next 3 or 4 weeks.
It's pretty much done. We just
Yeah,
have to.
we just gotta tweak it, look at the school calendar, yada, 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 and stuff, so. But just one more time, there will be on the second Friday of December, we'll have our regular meeting. first Friday in January, which was going to be our makeup meeting, we will not have. But we will have the third Friday in January meeting, normal meeting schedule.
Okay.
We'll send it out. We really,
Yeah, as soon as you set up the calendar for next year too, if you'll send that out to us, I like to get that on my calendar as well. So, okay, very good, thank you. Anything else from staff this morning? No? Okay, anything from board members this morning? Anything? Nothing? I'd just like to add, we have a big election coming up, so if you'll I just encourage everyone to get out and vote. And you can actually start voting now. Early voting's happening as we speak, so very good. All right, anything else? Okay, let's move on. Next on the agenda is to approve the September Design Review Board meeting minutes. And I know that Ellie made some quick corrections maybe last night to add the conditions that Mr. Swing put on CBS. But other than that, and they look good, Ellie, from the
Thank
printed
you.
copy. So, all right. Any other comments about the September 20th, 2024 Design Review Board meeting minutes? If not, I'd like to get a motion to approve those minutes, please.
Mr. Chairman, the motion to approve the September 20th, 24 meeting minutes in the motion.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Palmer, a second by Mr. Owens. Any comments or questions about the motion in approving the meeting minutes? All right, there being none, I'll ask for a vote, call for a vote. All in favor of approving the City of Alpharetta's Design Review Board meeting minutes of September 20th, 2024, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition, and 1 abstention. So meeting minutes are approved 6-0-1. Very good. All right, let's get on to new business this morning. Our first applicant this morning is the Standard Alpharetta. Are you here? Come on down, please. And if you'll make sure you speak into the microphone, introduce yourself and give your name and address, and then give us an overview of what we have in our packet this morning, please.
Yes, sir. My name is Dallas Bond, one of the owners. This is my partner, Chris Anderson. How are you?
Very good. Welcome. Good morning.
Can you give us your address also?
I'm sorry?
We need your
And
address.
4 South Main Street.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
All right. All right, tell us what we have in our packet this morning, please, or give just a quick overview, please.
so I'll help
All right?
these guys out. As they're restaurateurs, not necessarily architects or architectural experts. So what they have is a walk-up window on the Main Street side of their building. We briefly looked at this back in September of '23 when we approved the standard to go here, and there are other portions of the building, things that they wanted to do, which they've fully finished up. Now they had talked to me back in August about putting in this walk-up window, and I had approved it initially with staff, and that was a mistake, and should have sent it to the board. Since we didn't vote on it the first time, we saw it but didn't talk about it or pass it by. So we're here to talk about the window. The current window that you see on your screen here is in. That's what it looks like. And so any questions or concerns, discussions, the two gentlemen are here to hopefully walk us through any of that.
Okay, very good. I notice at least on our monitors, it doesn't look like it's been painted at this point. It looks like it's kind of.
We did, I'll interject there that,
Okay.
so they have a current stop work order on the job.
Okay.
I had one of my officers do a stop work. I let him get it all buttoned up so that it was weather tight, but I don't believe that it's fully painted yet. The paint will match all of the other windows, but I don't believe that it's fully painted yet.
Okay.
So the paint actually matches the other window that was existing. Right now, if y'all want us to maybe look into a different color, what,
Otherwise, yeah, we intend to just leave it the same color as the existing windows on the outside of the building.
yes.
Yeah, that makes sense, yes.
Okay. Questions from board members this morning?
What is that shelf made of? The,
Well, because we had the stop order, it's right now just wood, but it's gonna be,
Okay.
poured concrete to match the interior, and it's only gonna stick out about 1.5 inches from the exterior of
just
the
like to
building.
put your drink on or something?
For us to
Not-
be able to pass it out,
Okay.
really, that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Enough to basically make the seal with the window and
Yeah,
not really
and the
have a.
weather stripping and all of this. So our contractor's ready to do it, but when we got the stop work, we, you know,
Stopped.
stopped.
Yeah, so it'd be more like a windowsill, really.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
It's closed.
Oh,
it would
absolutely,
look
yeah,
like a
it's not
windowsill.
gonna protrude out, anything. I think it's 1.5 inches is a total measurement.
Okay. So is the primary use of this walk-up window to order beverages or food?
More or less food. We want to accommodate more people in the green space area. They walk by, they grab a pizza, you know, maybe they ordered ahead of time, they just swing by, grab it, and they keep walking to the green space area. We love that area. Eventually, we're gonna, you know, we wanna reach out a little more to that area and provide more pizzas with cleanup duties and everything behind that.
Okay. Well, I think we're really trying to be a walkable city, so this certainly makes, and we have other walk-up windows throughout the downtown area.
Sure.
I think the only concern that we're hearing a little bit is there could be some stacking issues with people. If you get a big crowd there, what do you do type thing? If you get,
We've already looked into stanchions.
Okay.
I'm sure you all know what those are. It's 21 feet from the window to the street. That's a good
Okay.
distance.
It is.
And with the stanchions typically being 36 inches wide, we can fit plenty of people there safely, especially at that busy intersection.
Can you explain what that is? Because I don't know what that is.
A stanchion is, you know, when you go to a bank and you're standing there, but like zigzagging or Six Flags, that's a
Like a
stanchion.
queue,
Oh,
like a
okay.
queue line- like a queue line type.
I never
thing.
knew that's what they
Yeah.
were called. See, I learned something.
Yeah, learn something every day, right?
And would those stay out there 24?
We will know.
We'll bring 'em in.
Yeah, we're gonna bring them in, put them out
Okay.
every morning.
You know, perhaps what we might end up doing to solve the concern that was brought up by, you know, some at the city is that, you know, should the line become an impediment to pedestrian traffic, that you would work with staff on a solution.
Yeah, that's
right?
not
But
our
I-
intent
But I
at all.
think
We're
what you're
just
talking
trying
about
to-
should be fine.
That intersection is just, we believe that it could be really advantageous for the city if we just make it more walkable, like you said earlier.
Absolutely, yep.
Mr. Parker, yeah, so,
When you're talking about the green space, you're talking about the green space to the right, your
Yes, sir.
outdoor seating area.
the big one, I don't
Yeah.
know
The
what
field.
exactly it's
the
called.
town
City's
green.
part.
Oh, I thought you
The
were talking
green.
about the patio area for the stand.
No.
No,
Gotcha.
the actual green space that the
Got
city.
you, okay.
I guess I might be the lone wolf because it feels to me that what are they called?
Stanchions.
Thank you, would create an even bigger impediment for people.
Look, if you don't
You
want us
know,
to use them, we will not.
Well,
use
I mean, I'm a lone wolf in this, but I don't think, okay, we are. I don't think you're gonna have that issue. You know, Smoke Jacks has a walk-up and they don't have an issue. The record store has hundreds of people lined up right across the same corner. They don't have an issue. So I would say, my opinion is not use them yet until you see if there's an issue.
I don't
And
want to
then-
spend the money, so if we don't,
That's not
Yeah.
fair.
No, I mean, we're
Yeah.
not gonna
Yeah.
put a requirement that you have them, I don't think. It's
Yeah.
just, you know, again, I think you try it. If it becomes a problem, then work with Brett on a solution, which
Sure.
may be
I
standard.
mean,
You
in
might
my
not need
opinion, they
them.
look a little trashy.
Yeah.
They
But
do.
we were
Yeah.
looking for a solution before we got the problem. Maybe we put the horse in, or the carriage in front of the horse.
Yeah, right.
You always have
right,
kids
yeah.
pulling them up.
You
and
might
them
have somebody
doing
show up, try to cash a check. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff happens, you know?
At least you thought about it.
Yeah,
You've considered that there could be an issue. What are we going to do if
Yeah,
it
just
is an
in
issue?
case.
It's a possible solution if it becomes a
Yes, sir.
problem. But like you said, there's what, 21?
21
Yeah,
feet.
that's a lot of
21 feet
space.
from the
A
building
lot
to
of space.
the
You-
road
you-
itself.
I'm sure you'd be happy to have that problem, that there's so many people.
We'd love
wanting
to.
come
Yes.
You are
Exactly.
wise to be proactive about that.
Yeah.
Because your location is kind of unique from some of the other places, because
I know,
you're
that's why we
right
paid
there
the
on the
rent.
corner. And you don't want to have a big bottleneck there, but, yeah, address it when you need to.
Yes, sir.
What was the reason for switching, and we talked about this a little bit in the workshop, but switching from the slider window to the hanger window that folds, just from that's the only aesthetic kind of question or concern that I had. The building's got really, really strong symmetry, and this is at street level where there's a lot of pedestrians. It's got really strong visibility, and now I'm kind of OCD about symmetry in
I'm
general.
OCD too.
But what was the consideration there, being that, a service window, you got people just passing things through? Is it really you need the space?
So when we purchased the property last July, we opened December 12th, December 19th. We extended the bar. Like, it used to end, I think, 20 feet from that window. We extended the bar all the way down,
Yep.
went through all the coding and everything. And then, like, we just looked at it and thought it'd be really gorgeous to open it and just make it more of an open air vibe, kind of like our location in Roswell, which last night was a live after 5, so forgive my appearance. Rough, man. But yeah, we just wanted to give more of an option for people to walk by on their way to the green space and grab a frosé or a pizza or a burger or something like that and keep walking to the green space. Like that's the only rationale behind that.
But in your original proposal, wasn't it a service window planned that
Well,
was
we
a
never got
horizontal?
approved for that, so I don't
I think
see how
he's
that-
asking, like, why
Why is
doesn't
it going
this
up
way
instead of to the
this
side?
way? I think is
Just-
what he's trying to ask.
To the sides, the version of those that we were looking at, a lot of them they open out more. So you've got big chunks of window hanging out into the street. There's no way for them to really go in.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
even
Oh, I
more
thought
of a
you were-
bottleneck.
Contemplating a slider that would open.
There's not room really to do a slider. It's going to go into our bar top that exists already.
You're making the window half the size.
Yeah.
Because it slides into the other window like a drive-through at Dairy Queen or something. Like we raised it up, and everything's custom made by the company that does this for a living. So it's,
Seemed to be to them the best option as well, as far as what we were looking for with, again, it being more open air, more, I don't know, not clunky.
yeah.
The way those windows, the slide windows open and look, it didn't give that feeling of being wide open.
Those are old pictures. That's not us.
It's just showing the symmetry that was there.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I would be concerned with the congestion, the people congestion, if you start throwing cornhole out there or something.
No, sir.
We're not doing any of that.
That is not our.
I mean,
that is
I
not
know
our
that happens
demographic.
elsewhere so,
No, that was
Yes,
not what
sir.
we're looking
Yeah,
for.
we don't want that at all.
okay. Very good. All right, any other comments or questions for board members this morning? All right, I'll ask is there any public comment about this application? Any public comment? All right, no public comment.
So, Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 240039, the standard Alpharetta, motion to approve the walk-up window as submitted with the following condition. If the line at the walk-up window should become an impediment to pedestrian traffic, applicant will work with staff on a solution to mitigate.
Yes, sir.
End of motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Swing, a second by Ms. Palmer. Any comments or questions about the motion on the floor? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, raise your hand. one opposition, so motion passes 6-1. Thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
All right. Okay, next up is Main Street Dentistry. Are you here? Yes, you are. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. If you will make sure you speak into the microphone this morning.
Sure.
Introduce yourself, name and address.
Sure. I'm Kevin Glover. I own Sinorama. We're located in Roswell, but I'm here on behalf of Dr. Sabah, who owns Main Street Dentistry. He is located at 366 North Main Street in Alpharetta. And can I share my screen with you guys? Okay.
Yeah, plug up there, you should be good.
There we go. All right. So we're proposing reinstalling a monument sign that he had a couple years ago before the road work that was taking place on North Main Street. So you can see in the top here of my photo, that was the existing monument sign that was there several years back. So here is what we're proposing for a new monument sign. We wanted to try to match what was there before in the past. And we did lower it, down to 6 feet tall. I think the old one was probably closer to 9 feet tall. But with the new code, we want to make sure we're following the new code with the height limitations there. The signage itself here, we're proposing to do 1.5-inch thick carved HDU signs that would be hand painted white, black, and gold. We also want to leave room to add 2 tenant signs in the future. Dr. Sabal, he owns the building. It's a 2-story building. His dental office takes up the majority of the first floor, and he has some corporate offices up on the second floor, but he has some open space where he can have some tenants in there. So I have some more photos to kind of go through, just to kind of explain it. So this is kind of the specs of the sign. We want to do 8-inch tall address numbers up top. We want to try to have them curved just a little bit to go with the curved top there. The monument sign we're proposing is 9 feet wide, 6 feet tall, and the Main Street Dentistry sign is 52 inches wide and 26 inches tall. So it's not huge. It's not a huge sign. It's under 9.5 square feet. But of course, we would want to do it on both sides, so one sign on each side of the monument there. This is the photo of the brick that is on the existing building. We want to try to match the brick here as close as possible to make the monument be the similar material as the building. So this is kind of a photo that I had to go back in time to get. This is a Google Street image. So you can see his building off to the right-hand side here. And then this is where the monument was back there. And I got a few more images just to show where it used to be. So there was the old sign there. And then one more view there. So you can see the old sign there. And then this is what it currently looks like now. The road work's been cleaned up a little bit, so I apologize for that. But you could see that it got moved, pushed back towards this parking lot a little bit. But there's still the island there, that landscape peninsula, that we could put a sign in there.
You must have been quick in that photograph, by the way, the car.
I had a little help from Google. So this here shows his building here. So again, he owns the entire building there. And then I have some views of like the neighboring buildings as well. So there's the building to the left. So it's a completely different architecture, but they have a monument sign there as well. And then a picture of the building to the right-hand side of his space. This is more of a house style, but they have a sign there as well. That's a picture of his front of his building. So he currently does have a sign on the building, but it's a non-lighted individual letter sign just above the door. It just says dentistry. So we want to try to give him some more roadside visibility for installing the monument sign. We're going to work with Brett and his staff to work on the location of a tree. This came from his landscaper. So they want to plant a willow oak tree here, so you can kind of see the tree drawn in the or superimposed in this photo. I know we can work with Brett on exact placement of it, but he wants a decent-sized tree to be planted there. That way the foliage can go ahead and start clearing the monument sign to not impede with the visibility.
Isn't there power lines above it?
There are power lines.
Yeah,
above,
but
so we'll have to watch.
we're off that, you know.
So you can't put a willow oak there.
I don't think Georgia Power will, it'll get
Yeah, I don't think you can put,
shredded.
I don't think you can put any under there, because I think, yeah, anyway.
Okay. I'm not a
And
landscaper.
we may have to swap what the current is showing this and put the tree back this way, sign more forward, which I can work with the setback on that.
Yeah, I think if you move the sign forward, I think you brought up the concern about visibility. I think if you move that sign closer to the street, it could be a visibility problem for turning out of that drive.
It could be, but we'll take a look at that. The turn lane being to your, if you're pulling out, the turn lane being to your left
To your left.
helps that because you can get out to, because it doesn't continue on. So you can get out to
Pull out
that.
far enough.
Yeah, to be able to, but I would prefer if you guys let that sort of placement kind of thing to me and let me and our traffic guy figure that out.
Oh, no.
But I do want to bring one thing up that studying this building just a little bit just now and remembering what the sign was that was there, there's nowhere on that building that they've got that 4-course roll-lock that they built on the top of this sign. Now, the sign before, with the amount of space that was in that front yard, was grander, and I think it felt okay. But I'm looking at the picture of the building, the three no, in between the gables, the
Dormers?
windows. The dormers. The 3 dormers have a half round or a moon shape to them, and so does the center. The center has some little columns. So not that I want to completely blow up Kevin's design, but how would it look with those columns coming up and then a steel post coming out of it and a metal top, rounded?
You mean like brick columns or?
Brick columns come up.
Okay.
And then just a short, 10 inches or so column come out, kind of replicate what's at the front porch there. And then have the half round above that covering over the half round being like the top of the sign.
Sounds like a lot.
Sounds like a lot.
I'm just thinking that may be a little bit too busy for not such a big, you don't have a big background to put, or you don't have a big area to put it in.
Okay, yeah, it could be.
I kind of feel like the monument sign doesn't need to mimic that closely to the building, and I think that the two thing or the whatever it's called,
The coins.
the coins, even though it doesn't represent on the building, I think it kind of reflects that style enough that I'm okay with it.
And actually gives the sign a little bit of character too, those coins.
Yeah.
Rather than just.
I was
depth.
thinking the coins and all that. I was just talking about the
the top. Can you put
4
the,
courses of brick at the top. Kevin, if you could go back to your design.
Yeah. I have a close-up here.
There. Actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 courses.
Yeah, I think that now that you mentioned, the top looks a little heavy for the
It-
smaller, because it's a lot smaller scale.
Yes, and we're bringing it down and bringing it in, so I think yeah.
The other thing is if that top reduced a little, because one of the things I was thinking, with that bottom sign so close to the ground, you have to really be careful with any landscaping that's going to cover the sign. It's true. If
You
the
are
top
correct.
was less heavy so that those signs could move up, it might give an opportunity for some landscaping around the base.
I just think proportionally that if the top gets skinnier, those columns or the side pieces are so heavy that it might look odd having this little skinny cornice on there.
Yeah, this is 27. This is me, I would reduce this width
Yeah, I would,
and maybe get rid of two of these. It still would allow 3 for the numbers, and they could be that big. They could even translate out to the end here, on this and be compliant. But if he wants them up there, that's fine, but I think 3 courses would be enough to get the letters. That's gonna, since we came down in height, I almost think like 6 by 6 is what we kind of need to go to and maximize this, but still allowing a nice size column.
the columns are currently 27 inches. And you're recommending, like, coursing wise, I don't know what it comes to, but something closer to 18?
That's what I would think,
Yeah.
something closer to 18 inches. However, the coursing works out, kind of like 2 bricks or whatever.
2.5,
Two and a half, or, however you have to turn the corner kind of thing.
So that's an 18-inch rectangle there.
Can you move that over to right beside the signs?
Yeah.
I'm not either.
I think 18 inches, and you're,
I'll say that, I'm not opposed to what we're looking at on the screen right now, on the monitor right now.
Okay.
And I know we're trying to tweak it a little bit, but then you don't know what that tweak looks like, so.
yeah.
I wouldn't, I would probably approve what's up there now as well.
I think the key is gonna be matching your brick, because I don't know how old that building is.
I'm not sure either, sir.
And then matching the mortar, because that's what really makes things look similar, is the
Correct.
mortar and the brick. So that's the key. That would be my biggest concern.
And Kevin, you were proposing real brick.
Real brick.
And mortar, not. Okay.
Yeah, real brick, and we would go to a couple different vendors to find it. Hopefully, a Cherokee brick would hopefully be our best friend with that.
Yeah, they're just up the road, so. Too bad DOT didn't save the old brick, but hindsight's 20/20.
I think they probably had too much fun knocking that big thing down.
Knocking all of them down.
See,
Okay.
the existing sign is the same width, 9 feet.
The
We don't know
previous,
what- there
the
is no
previous
existing.
sign, yeah.
I mean, the one that was
Wrong
existing,
page.
I guess, the old one.
We're guessing.
Yeah, we're guessing.
Yes.
I counted brick.
Yes,
It is. It looks exactly the same width,
okay.
the existing one, as
So
you count
basically, the
brick.
same thing that was there, just shorter.
So I took a very educated guess with this one. I counted the brick.
Counted the bricks.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, and brick with the mortar joint are 8 inches.
Correct. They're typically 2.5 inches by 8 inches with the
Yes, and
mortar.
3 courses of brick with 3 courses of mortar is 8 inches tall.
Yeah.
So,
I'd like to ask one more question if I could. If you could go back to the elevation drawing.
Sure.
Somebody had mentioned concerns about how close the lower tenant sign is to the ground. And we are required to have landscaping around the base of the sign. What if the signage was, the design remained, but the signage was moved up 2 courses and the lettering moved up, which would give you more at the base, wouldn't really modify the design too much?
I'm not opposed to that. Like Brett said, maybe we stick with just the 3 courses up top. That will give us 2 courses of brick to move everything up. And then if
Is
we
that
get,
what you were
if-
saying? Sorry.
oh, okay.
I think you need that space. Otherwise, if you do provide landscaping, that lower tenant's going to be.
Yeah.
And I spoke with the doctor. He is prepared to do the landscaping. He wanted to wait, obviously, until, this DOT stuff was worked out to get that done. But, and we'll work with him in the future on, once that's done, he's been great to work with on other stuff, so he'll make it right.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's a valid, Mr. Owen, that's a valid point that, yeah, that's, we don't really know what that dimension is, but it is close.
Okay, any other comments from board members this morning? Is there any public comment about this application? Any public comment? All right, no public comment. All right, does somebody want to craft a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 240038 Main Street Dentistry, motion to approve the monument sign as presented with the following conditions. Applicant will reduce the number of the 5 courses of brick at the top to 3 courses, which will allow raising the signs up higher on the monument and allow room for landscaping at the base. Final placement of the monument sign will be determined by staff. And a motion?
Second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Swing, a second by Ms. Palmer. Any comments or questions about the motion?
Do we need to specify or say anything like that landscaping is approved by staff or anything like that?
I think,
I don't think we have to specify that. That's something that we as staff are going to try to work with all of the folks along there once the DOT.
Because, I mean, I'm assuming there's, or you know, is it irrigated there or whatever? I guess
Yeah,
you'll.
because we're going to, you know, we don't know, may not be able to meet the code and different, so Kathy, our director's already said, you know, hey, once this DOT stuff is done, then we need to start focusing on how we can help
Okay.
what we're left with make look better. So we will, I don't think it needs a separate motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
all right, any other comments or questions about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed? No opposition. Motion passes 7-0. All right, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Go find that matching brick now.
Whatever.
It did, yes, it did. Okay. All right, our next applicant this morning is North Studio and Gallery. You're here. Come on down or come on up, please.
And Mr. Corkle is going to recuse himself as he's worked with this client. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Mr. Corkle, go get your coffee, some more coffee. All right, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, how you doing?
Good, good. If you'll make sure you speak into the microphone, introduce yourselves this morning, name and address, and then give us an overview of what we have in our packet today, please.
Okay. So my name is Harrison Payne. I'm the project manager for Nora Gallery and Studios, and I'm joined today with the owner, Sanaz Nori.
Yeah, I'm Sanaz Nuri Tabibi.
Good morning, thank you.
All right, we are located at 390 North Main Street. Get this set up here.
Okay.
And we are here today to talk about the approval for a monument sign, which we currently have no signage on.
Yes, I assume DOT also took your sign out too, huh?
I am,
Or,
Yes, I think
or the sign, a sign.
a sign, yeah. All right. So here we are. Just gonna start off with the title slide with a little render of what it's gonna look like, including the lighting and the landscaping.
Okay.
All right. And this would be our dimensions for the placement of the sign. It's gonna be about 2 feet in from the retaining wall that the DOT put up. And then we're looking at about 5 foot 3 inches or so from our existing landscaping garden area that we have. And then here is the actual property survey, if you are wanting to see this. So you can see where the concrete retaining wall is. We'd be about 2 feet in from there. And then as far as from the sides of the property, I forgot to throw it into here, but I do have how far it is. So from this kind of rock flume area, if you guys can't see my mouse, but On the top side, there's this rock flume. Oop. There we go. We're going to be about 10 foot 4 inches in from that. And then from the parking area, we are going to be, I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way. From the parking lot, we're 10 foot forward. And then from that line, we're going to be in the rock flume. It's going to be 44 feet in. All right.
Why don't you show, okay.
Yep,
Yeah,
sorry.
take a look at that, where the stakes are.
Yes.
Is that where it's planning to be located?
That
Okay.
is where I have gone out and
All right,
kind of
very
set
good.
up
That
a
helps.
visual for us to see where it's going to be. Those are existing now. If y'all ever want to drive by and look, they're still standing, unless the wind is kind of knocking them
No, I
around.
just,
but-
I remember seeing those, okay.
All right. So here's the dimensions from the side elevation. We are looking at, so we have 1 foot in total width of the sign, and it's going to be 5 foot in height once it's buried. Our stone base, the stone is going to match the stone that we put on the front of the building as well. It's going to be the same material.
Okay,
and
so that
same
is a
color.
stone base then?
Yes, it is
Okay.
a stone base. It's going to be the same stone that is on the front of the building currently. And it is going to be, which one was this? The stone base is part 2, so it's going to be this color here, Pluna, which is the exact same color that matches the front facade of the building.
Okay.
Okay. And then we go up a little bit. We have a little riser there, separation from the stone base. That is going to be, what was my dimensions here? That's a little 2-inch, I believe we put in. Yeah, so it's a little 2-inch riser. That one is just going to be plain old white, just simply white. Okay. And then we go on up, and we are going to be total. So we're going to be. I left my notes here. Yeah, so we go up, and we have our total top side is going to be the remaining height. We've got 3 inches of separation on the top and bottom before our logo. And then once our logo is, it's going to be a total of 3 foot in height. And this would be the front elevation here. So as you can see, we're going to be a 7 foot wide sign. And then the arc total, if you want to go from point to point, including the arc, we're looking at 7 foot 4 inches in width. But once it's all said and done, it's 7 foot. Then you can see where we've got our lighting placed here. And just give you another view, there's the perspective view. The logo and the design are going to be on both sides of the sign. It's going to be double-sided. And this would be the light itself. For the light, we're looking at, it's going to be a 12-inch light, the light itself. And then our solar panel is going to be 13 inches total before it goes in the ground. So that includes the stake. So depending on how far in it goes, I'm not really sure exactly the height that's going to stick out. But we are planning on these to be solar powered. And they're directional lights they're going to be putting straight at the sign from the ground up. So it's not going to be shining into drivers' eyes or anything as they're passing by. We do have a plant schedule. We're going to be using azalea. This is already existing in our garden. So it kind of ties it all into the property to what's already there.
You said it's azalea?
Yes, it's going to be a rhododendron. Sorry, I'm not a landscaper. This is currently what we have planned to go there. We're open to change or suggestions on that.
I think you need to be careful about the type of azalea you use because it didn't look like you had, I think we had maybe a little over a foot of base. And you wouldn't want to cover up your signage. So there's different types of azalea that would be more appropriate than others to use in that location.
Okay.
So more compact, smaller
Yes.
variety would be good.
It's like a dwarf variety?
There maybe the Gumpo series. They have
Do
whites and pinks.
Do they come in a pink?
They do, yeah.
And do they need full sun?
They can take sun. It'll be, I think if they had irrigation, I'm not sure if we have irrigation in this location. That would probably be important.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look into some different varieties of azalea, something more lower growing.
Another thought
Yes.
that I'll throw out is if you stick with that indica type of azalea
Mhm.
that has those wonderful flowers, if you're willing to have something that's just a little bit asymmetrical, put that azalea between the sign and your building so that it creates a frame to anchor that side of the sign, and then your other things that are lower can be in the lower parts of the sign.
Okay.
So that you just had it sort of creates a movement with your eye as you start at the front and move to the back towards the building.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk with our landscapers and come up with a plan for that one.
Is the rest of your landscape area, is it irrigated already?
Yes, it is.
So there is opportunity then to bring the irrigation out
Yes.
for
there
around
will
the
be.
monument sign, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yep, color samples for the sign itself.
Yes, I'm getting right there.
There we go.
There,
There we
the,
are. Eggplant.
so I can get to it. So we're looking at the brassica here. This is going to be the, kind of the border to the actual sign.
Okay.
And then our logo, which was, where was it? So here, this, kind of the front. Yeah, so the front border here is gonna be this brassica. And then the background to our sign is gonna be this called eggplant. This is from Benjamin Moore.
And that, the
Yes.
lighter color, is that the same one that's on the
It
building?
is the same one that the arcs are using. Yes, ma'am. this
So,
will-
so the lighter color would be the border and then the actual logo.
The actual logo background is this, yes, ma'am. So all three of these, the Simply White and the Kaluna, these are already existing on the building.
Even the darker color? The
Yes.
eggplant? No, the
Oh,
eggplant?
the eggplant? No, it's not. This
Okay.
is the only one that's different from the building itself. And that would just be to kind of make the sign pop out a little more from the building.
It looks in the image we're looking at now that the letters NOR and then the bottom part of the,
Mm-hmm.
what do we call those? That bottom line are a different color than the rest of the logo, maybe the man's hat or the lady's hat. or
That's
the-
the
Looks like it's
gray
almost
color.
a gray, light gray.
Yeah.
It's the gray color, I think, that he just held up, one of the
So,
three
I
existing.
mean, is the logo all the same color? I mean, is that just kind of a weird thing on the,
I think it's just a weird thing with the architect when he sent me the designs.
so the
These
logo
colors.
is all one color? And what color are the letters, the NOR letters and Studio Gallery?
The letters are gonna be white? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
And then the, I can't
and
remember.
Studio Gallery as well?
Okay, so the Farvahar, the character in the background, will probably be a little darker of a white so that the letters contrast a little bit against it.
So which color is the logo out of the ones you showed, your color samples?
The background?
Not the
No,
background,
the letters.
the actual logo
Okay,
itself.
The
So
figure?
the logo
The
lettering
figure.
is going to be,
Not the lettering, the actual,
oh, the actual logo itself?
actual logo itself.
That I am not sure. We're still
don't have
throwing
it
some
yet.
designs up with our architect design team. Do you know?
This is my business card. So
Let's,
it's
let's,
kind
why
of
don't you
what
pass
do
that
I
around
use?
then, if you will? Start with Ms. Palmer down there at the end. And
I know you're
Okay.
going to get some good attention from people who are driving down and up the street
Yes, sir.
to notice this. Before you finish the color of the NOR, and I do appreciate you including the symbols of the meaning of the Farvahar. Make sure that NOR is going to stand out enough so people can see that, if that's what if you want more of that.
Okay.
Because from a distance, it might get a little bit lost with the colors being similar.
Okay.
I
It
think I
almost-
agree.
Go ahead. It almost seems that from your business card, like the figure logo part is the same color as the border, and then the NOR Studio Gallery is in the white color. I mean, that's the way I'm reading that
It
card.
seems to stand out better on the business card than on the sign, because right now, that was one of the concerns I was going to raise.
Yeah,
It-
like that.
It looks very, very like, it kind of overlaps each other,
kinda
and
lost.
you can't really decipher, and if you're driving by at 35 miles an hour, it's impossible, I think.
That's,
Okay, so
I think you could also try to play a little bit with the sheen too, and have the sheen of the person with the wings, whatever, in the background, have that a duller sheen than the Nor,
okay.
you know, is a brighter sheen, a shinier sheen. That's going to help stand the two off as well, I think.
I would hate to introduce another color, but I think that the visibility of the lettering would be a lot better if the logo itself was darker and kind of not that it would get lost in the background color, but dark enough that you create enough contrast that the lettering pops off a little better.
Okay, so how about, as Ms. Palmer was saying, if we were to use the same border color, so it kind of ties in, and then have the white logo, or the name, sorry.
The Nord.
Studio
I think
Gallery.
that would create a lot more.
Yeah, that would create a lot more contrast.
I do like that. How do you pronounce it? Is it far? The
How
far.
do you pronounce it?
Farbaha?
Okay, thank you. I do like that. I think it's very interesting.
So I did include the meaning of it on their packet.
Yeah, I agree, Mr. Rowan. I think that would create, if even maybe not cream, even using white letters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know, that lighter purple background, same as the frame, and then white letters would. I didn't see the card, but is, you know, that seems like that would really contrast well.
The eggplant color, I know we talked about this when the building came to DRB, but is the eggplant color outside of the approvable? This is still part of the district, right?
It is part of the downtown.
Is that outside of the?
We don't have a set color palette for downtown, so I think it's really up to you guys.
but this is not the historic business district part.
Well, we don't really technically have that anymore.
Wait, I guess that's
Yeah,
true.
it is within the downtown overlay.
And I need to note this too, because I've recently celebrated a birthday. I appreciate your indication of the symbolism that your figure represents age and wisdom.
Thank you.
Second that.
Okay, any other,
Well, yeah, what's the material of the sign itself? I missed that. I think it was annotated.
The material?
Yeah, the logo and the letters, and what's the material of the sign?
Yeah.
I don't know that it ever said that on.
I thought I
don't
saw
know if
somewhere it
it's
said
ever
Mason,
100%.
that it was, I got the
So
impression-
in my drawings from our architect, he didn't 100% say. He had just said stone on this one. This is gonna be the same stone that's on the front of the building.
Yeah, no, I'm more on the sign itself.
This up
Yeah,
here?
all that. What material is all of that?
That I am not 100% sure. I would have to get back to our architect.
It says
and see what he
concrete.
turned in. He has concrete as the actual sign itself, yeah. It's gonna be a concrete sign,
I
but the
think-
letters and the logo, I'm not sure what he was planning.
Yeah, it's
That-
kind of
Says
like,
in-
what's the material?
said-
How deep is the relief on the sign and the letters? And
It says embossed mortar logo for the logo, Frank.
yeah, I
don't
thought I
know.
saw something somewhere that said what it was. Where is that?
That's what I'm looking for here.
It's the number
Concrete?
4.
It calls it out concrete.
There.
The border, it says is concrete, and then the logo says it's embossed mortar.
Embossed mortar. That's what I saw somewhere. So
I don't
I
know
don't know
what
what
the,
that means.
the
but-
eggplant portion. I guess, I'm assuming, is it the whole thing maybe concrete and then it's painted?
Boy, that's a
I thought that it was, the whole thing was concrete, and this was like a cast logo, which sounds very expensive, but
Yeah,
I don't know that they're gonna.
I think we're guessing, unfortunately.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I would have to get back to the architect.
I think if y'all are comfortable with that, I feel like the background is one layer, the symbol is another layer, and then I think the the letters need to be pin mounted or something to that, so they make another layer, probably like a inch thick letter, 3/4 inch thick letter with a, an inch standoff or something like that, I think is what it needs depth to help with the realization that it's all different stuff.
Right,
It
so,
does need some-
so you're saying staff approval on the logo and letter materials and dimensions?
And placement
That's what I'm thinking,
of the
Yeah.
monument.
yeah. And placement of the
And
monument.
placement of the monument?
Yeah.
right. Well, actually,
And
they already
landscaping.
have placed the monument. Do
They
you-
have placed it, but I want to make sure with the survey and the thing that we can come as close to meeting the setback as we can. They have a 5-foot setback, but I don't know that that's really going to work with most of these walls and stuff that DOT put in. So the city's been prepared to work with those setbacks on these. So I think just leave the placement.
On that one as well?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So,
It will not be right at the wall. It'll be back from the wall, but I just don't know quite yet. I would guess at least the 2 feet that they said.
so just to be clear, before any motions are made, the idea is that the lettering, or that we've discussed, the lettering is white, the logo is the gray or
The border color, yeah,
that border color to get the
Yes.
contrast.
right.
Okay.
And then the eggplant is the big part of the background.
Yeah, we basically have, what I had in my notes was on the landscaping, a lower growing species of azalea that won't block the sign. The logo in the same color as the border and white letters to create more contrast, and staff approval on the materials for the logo and the letters and the dimensions.
Yeah, and I think staff approval I would probably try to guide them towards at least a metal letter. I want to talk through this embossed concrete, because that
Right.
maybe
Right.
could be, I'm thinking of a more architectural thing, like when the stucco guy makes the coves up at the corner. I mean, you could sort of call that an embossed
Right.
thing. So I'm thinking that maybe that's what that is, but I'd like to talk through with the actual person that's going to do it with that and make, see what their thickness is and this and that.
Yeah, and working with concrete, that's going to be difficult.
It
To do
could be
that-
difficult,
To do
yeah,
that
so-
detail that you want and the,
Yeah, so it may
it's-
need that background is one.
yes.
Then the symbol is another layer of something metal or something.
And then the letters
Letter.
stand
And then
most
the
proud.
letters stand proud
Stand
of
out.
that.
Yeah, I agree.
And that would also help the lettering show a
I
little
agree,
better,
100%.
right?
Yes, it would, yeah.
So some,
Yeah, and the
reveal
last,
some depth.
the last I read was staff approval on placement, so I think those were the things we talked about.
Sounds good. Before you do that, all right, is there any public comment about this application? Any public comment? No public comment, okay.
How do you say the name of your studio? Nor?
Nor.
Nor, okay, that's what I guessed. All right, Mr. Chairman, regarding DRB 240040, Nor Studio and Gallery, motion to approve the monument sign as presented with the following conditions. Applicant will work with staff on the final placement of the monument sign. Applicant will use a lower growing species of azalea to avoid blocking the sign. The logo will be in the same color as the border with white letters to create more contrast. And staff will have final approval on the materials and dimensions for the logo and the lettering. And the motion?
I second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Swing, a second by Mr. Owens. Any questions or comments about the motion? There being none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it. 6-0, all right. Very good. Okay, our next applicant is,
Oh, okay.
okay, we'll get Pat back. Our next applicant is Mozika Meza. Is that the right pronunciation? Are you here? Mozika Meza, are they here? Anybody here for Mozika Meza? No. Okay. All right, well then we'll move on to the next applicant on the agenda, and then that is the Maxwell. I'll tell you what, while you're coming down, let's see, do we need to take, no, board members are coming back in, so, all right, the Maxwell is our next applicant this morning, so come on down. So,
wait, what happened? Did we miss?
nobody's here for
not here, right?
Mozika Meza.
Okay.
Is that, okay? I guess they had advance warning, right? They were told to,
Yeah, okay.
okay. Very good, all right. So, here we go, come prepared. Wishful thinking. Okay. Brett, if we have an applicant that doesn't show up for the meeting, do they automatically get placed on the next agenda? Because it's not been, so they have to go, this will be, if they come back, we'll hear them in December then. Okay. Very good. It's a shame.
It's unfortunate, but we've already advertised the next agenda.
Yes.
So we're past the stage to be able to do that.
Okay. Very good. Okay, good morning. Are you up or are you?
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay, well, you keep.
10 seconds.
All right, that's fine. Take your time. Don't want to rush you. Yes, yeah. Yes.
Okay, I guess I'm ready.
Okay. well,
As
good-
ready as can be.
Good morning, yes. Welcome. Make sure you speak at the microphone. Introduce yourself and name and address, and then review what we have in our packet today, please.
Okay. My name is Michelle Dormany. I'm with A1 Signs. Our address is 6334 Buford Highway is where our sign shop is located. I'm here today representing the Maxwell, which is at 201 South Main Street. We, as Brett mentioned earlier, the Maxwell has been through many different reviews, and I took over a couple months ago with them, with the current manager, and we have walked the property. We have looked from every road view that we can find, and without finding any good location for a monument to go on the new roadway. So this is a location that we've come up with, the 1 and 2, and I'm an old school girl too. I made y'all some posters.
Oh, good. Okay.
So that kind of gives you both views of the Okay. So, but on the roadway, my customer is content, and what they want is to get some visibility for their tenants that are on the back side of their property that have no road frontage at all represented on the South Main Street. They have 3 anchor tenants that are on the back side of the property, and they want to give them at least some name recognition on the roadway. They know the signage is going to be small. They know that there's nowhere good to put this. And we came up and kind of brainstormed this idea of placing it on the wall. Is it the best location? No, but it's what fits the criteria. It's what fits the roadway. It would be aesthetically pleasing. It's not going to hamper any of the landscaping that's there. The only thing that they are committed to do is to keep the ivy back so that it doesn't encroach on the sign. They have not made any improvements at this time because we wanted to, find out if this is feasible for this committee. And they will pull that ivy back from the wall so that we'll have room for our sign. There are no intentions at this time to light this sign. They are mostly looking for daytime visibility. That may be something that they come back to staff or come back to this committee to see about adding lighting, up lighting or down lighting, whatever is needed. But we think at this time there's enough lighting already visible from the roadway to give what they need. The main anchor tenants that are there now, Fairway Social has some of their own signage that is visible from the side street, so that is not a huge concern for nighttime visibility. The other two are more businesses that are open during the day. So that's kind of why we picked this location. It fits criteria. It gives them a little bit of visibility. They can please their tenants with some type of signage. So I'm here today to, see what your advisement is from this. I did hear in your workshop that you suggested possibly mounting it to the top of the wall. We did look at that. Never dreamed that would be something y'all might allow. So I would be happy to go back to them. But they are content with this location, unless, this committee advises something different.
Let me ask, I'm sure since you all struggle with location, I'm sure there's a good answer to this, but it appears that there's enough room in that landscape strip for a monument sign. Is there an easement there that prevents that or something?
Yes. There's only a short area. There's a water table concrete structure there. So the underground, it is impossible. Everything has been squeezed by the DOT there, and we don't want to. I don't want to hit gas. I don't want to hit water. I don't want to cause any kind of disturbance. And so this was, the best recommendation to, utilize what's there. It gives us some visibility. I do have it sized to fit with the square footage of the sign code. If it's considered a monument and, if it only needs to be 6 feet, then, my customer wants something. If it needs to be 6 feet tall, we would love for it to be considered and be placed at the top of the wall, but we would consent to make it the 6 feet tall, 6 feet from top to bottom, from the top of the wall to the bottom of the sign, and then it wouldn't encroach into the landscaping. Whatever you tell me. If it needs to be 6 feet from the ground, my customer will adjust.
I think we were just on the top of the wall thing. I think we were just brainstorming on.
Right, I know, and that was a fantastic brainstorm.
We'd have to see exactly what that would look like, and you got a railing up there. I don't know how you work it around around the railing if you put something up there.
Yeah, she and I did walk that area, and as a pedestrian walking that area, it just didn't feel safe to me to have any type of structure that blocked me from the visibility of oncoming traffic. So I didn't really even recommend that idea to her.
I'm going to ask a question to staff. Back in 2019, when we were looking at this development, did we not approve a sign package? And did the sign package have anything to do with monument signs? Okay, all right.
We did a sign package, but it did not have a monument sign as the ownership at that time didn't didn't feel it was going to be necessary. But they also weren't aware that they were going to lose some space and this and that and the other thing at the front. So, yeah, they just weren't aware.
Right.
Is there a reason why it has to be on that corner?
I'm sorry.
Is there a reason why it has to be on that corner? Can it not be up on the other side? Like
There is no other, the other corner does not have a wall that would face the oncoming traffic.
Right, but I'm talking about a monument sign, not a wall
No,
sign.
there's nowhere.
There's nowhere. Okay.
Even with the new intersection coming into play?
So I think one way you could perhaps get a more visible sign, I mean, on that skinny section of wall, there's not much you can do, but on the front of the wall, why can't the sign go horizontal? You put 2 and 2, so you can get a little bigger sign facing the street.
I
You know what
think
mean?
currently as it's sized meets the allowable square footage.
Yeah, but my point is, if we have to bring it down to 6 feet, that's gonna make it even smaller, right? Whereas if it was 2 and 2, you could.
Instead of stacked.
Yeah, you could get a bigger dimension than you will be able to if you have it vertical and squash it down to 6 feet. You know what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, but if I put the Maxwell across the top and fill the space as the name of the center, then in a horizontal view, that would take up a good portion and have less room for tenants. So the tall version is the best for what the customer's wanting and include those extra tenants.
I just think by the time you take, I mean, because right now to take that down to 6 feet, that's going to get a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you're shrinking it by 2 feet. That's a.
If I take it down to 6 feet and I lose blank space here. So if we took the blank space down here and here, I'll quit touching it. And then I were to make the tenant spaces a little smaller, lose some of this space, I think I can easily gain, it will be a little smaller to be the 6 feet, but I could easily squeeze it in. This could be reformatted to, the logo with Italian grill to the side. This tenant is actually moving out, so I don't know what the other one would be. So,
Oh, July Moon's moving out?
I'm sorry.
Did you say July Moon is moving out?
I believe so, yeah. They just have no visibility on the back side, and
I'm assuming like all three of these are on the backside, which is why they
yes,
want the sign.
yes. These three,
I'd like to,
these are the three main anchor, this is Blue Moon, I believe, here, and then the restaurant, and this one is the social.
I'd like to bring up a couple of points that we hadn't discussed yet in the workshop, which might tie into this somewhat, and it might be out of our jurisdiction. But one of the most visible, iconic things about the Maxwell is the entry signage that goes between the buildings. And I noticed that the logo that you have there doesn't match the same font as the Maxwell main signage. Is that intentional?
Are you talking about the one that's the archway between the two buildings? I believe that it does. And
it doesn't. The serifs on the letters totally different font.
okay, well, this logo I do know for sure. The way that we were envisioning this would be built. I guess I need the microphone again.
There's the.
It's totally different.
Okay, these are the actual materials and sizes that would be. This is taken from their tower that's between the restaurant on the backside and the social. So it's an aluminum background with square tubing angle. And it's a whole tower that's built out of this, a series of this. So this would be the background of our sign panel that would mount to the wall. And then the sign itself, on that wall, this matches what's on that tower wall. And that's what the new landlord, I think, is moving to this type of a logo.
Okay.
It gives it more of a thickness for visibility.
Okay.
It just has the smaller serifs.
Yep.
It's a
Okay,
little.
I was just curious about that.
No, it was a great question.
The other thing is looking at the location 1, location 2 that is currently on the board, with the stark white and no decorative framing of anything, it looks kind of like a temporary real estate sign, a leasing sign or something. And what I was wondering, the main Maxwell sign that arches between the buildings is really attractive. It's got this kind of industrial architecture feel with the truss. Is there anything that could be incorporated? And now that we're talking about shrinking the sign, it's almost impossible, but
So you're envisioning something maybe like if we took,
I think if you carried over some type of truss-like, or just kind of, it's just so
If we
plain
took-
and bland.
if we took that archway type of look and were to put it here with the Maxwell.
I think that would carry over I think
Yes,
that main
because
arch is
This
powerful.
piece is actually to exact size of what this would be.
Eric, is there an example of what you're talking about?
Yeah, right, the entrance sign, see how there's the arch with the truss? Here, you can pass this down.
Sorry, I wasn't prepared with a picture of that.
The architecture, I like the architecture in general of the Maxwell, and that arch is the most defining feature of the whole center, and it would be nice if that could be represented on the sign. It would add some more character, make it maybe look less like a
Sure.
temporary leasing.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
Just-
See,
Yeah,
it's just a recommendation.
okay.
I hate to say this, it looks like an afterthought, what this is. And again, you've been struggling with this for a while.
It is an
I'm
afterthought.
struggling with it right now, and it looks like it does almost look like a for rent or for lease sign that's been put up there and just kind of plastered up there quickly, and there's got to be a better solution than.
I think if you
So
arch the
Eric, are you
top.
talking about, so it's almost a framework of iron or metal, for lack of a better term, that is applied to the wall, and it actually has the framework that extends out from the wall, so it looks similar to what your image is?
If-
'Cause that would look kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, if they took the existing sign as it is, even though it's shrunk, but let's just say that we take the existing sign, and instead of having 4 rectangular boxes that really don't say anything, the top where the Maxwell logo is, instead of just a square box, incorporate a relief truss almost over the word the Maxwell. I could draw it if.
I'm thinking if they did an entire framework, a metal framework, if you will, that actually is applied to the wall, like with 4 points, let the vine grow in behind it, that could look kind of cool.
That would.
And make it just a one-sided or one-faced, put it on the.
Well, it's
put it on the-
it's one-sided anyway, but, no, I'm saying it's 2 things, but it's actually a frame that's built out of metal, looks like the thing you've got there, and then that is applied to the wall, and the vines growing behind it, so there's like 4 points that attach to the wall, I
So
don't know.
put it where the number 2 is, so it faces parallel to
So this
South
one.
Main Street.
No,
And then-
just 2 of them, I don't care how many, but 2 of them.
No, yeah.
Location 1, location 2, I'll get the same, you get the,
Well,
Two different-
the one side is only that much wall.
Yes,
I'm not
right
talking about
now-
changing location. I'm
Right
just
now,
talking
I
about-
have them sized so that both of them are the same.
I don't,
I have an idea that is probably going to have to come back. but I sort of want to blow the whole thing up.
Yeah.
What if we, on that wall where the number 2 is located, if we did a bracket on the top and on the bottom that looks like the bracket that Mr. Rowan was talking about under the Maxwell? So we do a top and a bottom, and we mount that
So you're talking like a
off
blade
of the
sign?
wall,
Yeah,
like
pin
a
mount it
blade
to the wall.
sign, and then pin mount the letters on both sides with the background. So it's probably gonna have to come back because that's a lot.
I'm talking about a whole metal frame that's
Yes.
being mounted to it.
I think that would.
But I'm thinking making it, take that whole frame, but make it
blade.
perpendicular like a blade sign
It would
to
be
the
like
wall.
if this is that wall, it would mount
Oh,
like
so
this.
just one sign then.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
that,
front
Both
back.
sides,
Right.
Two-sided.
two-sided,
I think that would serve
Off
the
of the
tenants
corner.
better.
off of the corner.
Right. So like if this were our new framework, it would mount like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Not
that would
visible
serve
enough,
the tenants a lot better.
Yes, my
And
love.
you'd have visibility from the north and the south, and then you'd also introduce the character that's really, I think, the iconic thing of the Maxwell. Whenever I
good
think of the
idea.
Maxwell, I think of
Good idea,
that
Eric.
truss.
And
And
Brett?
couldn't you raise it up then, higher, like the
Well,
top of
that's up
the?
to y'all. Can I mount it at the top of the wall?
So I mean, well,
Down to the building.
or somewhere kind of, in other words, the top would
Okay, so-
extend above the top of the wall.
We gotta work on, I have to work on a lot of them.
That's a good
Yeah,
picture of
yeah.
it.
Okay.
But
That is attractive.
if we mounted it flag style right
Yeah.
here,
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a true blade off of that
Like
wall,
true
not the
blade
corner.
right here.
Very similar to where, like the Thrive on the corner
Yep.
above
Yeah,
Manila
very
is,
similar to like the Thrive, that kind of thing, but on this corner,
or wherever that
I
is.
think if we took then, let me, bear with me here just a second. If we take this bracket and make it the, say half of it, the bottom and the top
I agree.
of the.
Yes, it would need to be the bottom and
flag
the top for
style.
stability.
And then take basically what she's presented in her thing as number 1 and number 2 and just sandwich them back to back and put them between there. Perpendicular to the road, but you're gonna read it as you're going down the road.
I agree. But how much space will the brackets take up height-wise that'll take away from the size of
I
the
don't have to count brackets
count
in
the
the
brackets.
size.
Oh, perfect.
Fantastic.
All right.
Can I make one more recommendation? If there's a way they could get away from the stark white background and maybe do a light gray or something, I think that would add to the appeal and the character.
I almost think we'd make it I'm thinking black
And white lettering,
and white lettering.
that would be awesome. Just like the
Just like
Happy
this.
Home.
Right.
If you look at the picture,
Black background, white letters,
sounds great.
black frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many monument signs are they allowed to have? How many street frontages?
They have nothing.
They have 3. But I have to go way back because we used some of the monument signs for the arch, some for the, yeah, so technically they have 3 road frontages now. They only had 2 before, but they have 3 now. So that's why I say let's leave all the code stuff to me, and
I'm just thinking that if we're doing this once, then all of a sudden they have 2 other opportunities.
I don't
We
think
wanna
they're gonna
make
have 2 other opportunities.
Okay.
I think this is, even though they've got another road front, I really.
The
think-
ownership has no anticipation of anything but this one sign.
Well, they didn't have anticipation of this side either.
This side
so-
4, so,
And they also understand they can only have 4 tenants.
yeah, the 4 tenants is, yes, but I don't think there'll be enough aggregate square footage of what would be allowed left to do an additional one. I think this is gonna be it.
I also believe that as we're raising it up, the way we're talking about doing, it's going to be more visible.
Yes.
Especially people driving north whose eyes are going to be looking at that mass level of the building because there's so much repetition there If it's down lower, it might get lost.
I agree.
Yeah, now, our two architects, I know you're not engineers, but I would think we would beef this corner up steel-wise and start the bracket right there at the top of that handrail and come off towards Main Street.
That also keeps it out of the landscaping at the bottom.
Keeps it out of the bottom landscaping, it keeps it out of the wall landscaping and having to keep that trimmed off the ivy. I think it gives it a pretty cool look.
It does.
It almost, taking that picture, the way that those brick piers are built, it's almost like you
Yeah, you just took
make
it
a-
from up here and
Yeah.
dropped it down here.
yes,
Continue that up.
Yeah,
that gives it, and it makes it look like it was,
yeah, and we
To be
can't,
there.
we couldn't put it up here just simply because of this tenant right here.
Yeah,
It wouldn't.
It would look
doesn't
odd.
work, so but I think it works right there.
I do too.
just don't put the downspout gutter right there. You're
it's a
good.
brainstorming.
Okay.
I just have to work on, because I'm looking at this, but I don't know where, so I gotta work on that.
I think that pole's gone now,
I think that pole is intended to be
No.
gone, yes.
because there's the new one right behind it.
But there's a new one here.
Anchored
and
into
they
the
go back
landscape.
this way,
Is that-
so
Are those yellow wires going to the old pole or the new
these
pole?
go to the old.
Okay,
These back here go to the new. I
okay.
don't think they're gonna be affected.
That's just telephone anyway.
Affected, but I think these being gone will help.
I mean, I guess there'll be a street sign.
Nope. Yeah, but I think it's,
Well, if you look
Oh,
at
it's
the,
over-
you look
oh,
at the
there's
picture
some-
I took, that telephone pole's right in the middle of the sidewalk right now. That
yeah,
they just
this one's gonna be.
Yeah, that one will be gone.
I think it's gotta go right there.
I think that's a great idea.
I do too.
All right,
And
I
I
wanna be a sign guy in my next life.
I'd hire
think you
him.
should be.
sign placement guy. Okay.
And what
bef-
about, think about lighting, when they come back, think about any lighting for the sign as well? If you're gonna want any
I
down lighting or
almost
up
think
lighting
that
or.
There would be, yeah, there needs to be lit. I almost think there would be opportunity, depending on how much light this one provides for it, that either mounting something on this, shining at it, or doing an LED strip entailed in that iron
Yeah, you could-
work that flushes up and flushes down.
Down light, down and
Yeah.
up, yeah.
Rather than add another fixture in the landscape or
Right.
something like that, I think sign companies can do a lot with LED strips and flushing, and I think we could add it right into the framing,
frame.
basically,
Okay,
of the
great.
sign itself.
Is there power currently out there?
Sorry?
Is there power out there? Okay.
No, there's no power.
I would guess that there's power here at this pole, so it's not far away.
Okay, before we go any further, let me ask for any public comment on this application, please. Any public comment?
There is no public.
Yeah, we're pretty empty.
The people watching this don't know
And
that.
this definitely would
All
have to
right,
come
well, no
back.
public comment. Okay.
Definitely would have
So
to
that
come back.
means if they're coming back, it's gonna be December then?
Table it?
Can you table it for next month?
Well, it's not been
I
advertised.
think we can do that, because we can't advertise it.
Well, if they waited this long, I mean. I know
They have, yes, and so, I don't think they'll be overly concerned, because they'll be getting something.
Better.
I'm just afraid that y'all, that's a lot. I think you have the concept, and I definitely have enough that I can guide them in designing it. But I need you to see it.
Yeah, so it's a deferral.
I need you to see it. So we will get them advertised in November for the December meeting,
Well, we are meeting a week earlier in December.
and we are meeting a week earlier, so we'll, yeah,
I think the
So-
tenants will appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it should, there should be a.
Yeah, we'll get on this first thing next week and get them designing and working and they don't even have to resubmit technically. I can just move their application and yada, 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 but we have to re-advertise it is the big deal.
Plus the fact you don't have to have a landscaper trying to keep the ivy off the sign
Yeah.
every month or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, they can just go out there with a big can of Roundup and spray the whole wall and be done.
It would grow on the sign though.
Or glyphosate, can put some glyphosate on there. And just-
Okay,
Thank you.
I think we've decided to defer this application. All right, we do need a motion for that, please.
Mr. Chairman, DRB 240042, the Maxwell, I make a motion that we defer in the motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Palmer, a second by Mr. Rowan. Any comments or questions about the motion on the floor? I think we did a good job of designing the monument sign this morning. Okay, there being no further questions or comments, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed, no opposition. Motion passes 7-0. All right, Michelle, thank you for your time this morning.
I appreciate it.
We're getting there. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, definitely.
I think it'll be better for everybody. I think it was a great design for the city.
Except for the delay, they're going to be extremely happy.
Good, okay, good. All right, our next design review board meeting is going to be November 15th, November 15th. So I'll see everyone then, and with no further business and with no objections from fellow board members, this meeting's hereby adjourned. Thank you.